once again, it's Gabe Morales with Gangsters, Cops, and Politicians. I got a very special guest today, man. I'm so honored to have him on the show. He's a little bit younger than me, but he has a lot of knowledge in the game, and he has a great show. We have Hector Bravo here today. We're going to ask him some questions about his upbringing and his job and his show and what he's doing. And I know he has a lot of fans. I think you're over 20,000 subscribers now, yeah?
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, there you go. And growing fast. I don't know how I came upon your channel, but I was like, oh, what's this? This guy here. Let me check him out, see if he's any good. And I was like, wow, real recognize real, brother. And you probably remember
Right.
that was the first comment I put on there. Real recognize real. So I knew that you were not a phony and that you had worked the line and never forgot where you came from. And always appreciated that. When I became a lieutenant, I also try to tell the troops, hey, man, I'm just staff, man. These bars really, they're not that heavy. I try to be humble and teach me some new things because we all can
Facts.
learn new things every day. So welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Thank you, man. It's an honor, dude. And just like you, I've been watching all your shows, man. And man, just like you said, dude, real recognize real. The knowledge that you have, the insight, the experiences, invaluable, bro. Priceless.
I would like to ask you, and I'm sure our viewers would like to know, where were you born and raised?
Born Hanford, California, Central California. My pops up there working in the fields. My mother went up there. They were dating. I was born, and then right away they came back down south to Brawley, California, to the Imperial Valley on the border of Mexico.
Got you. So what schools did you attend?
The regular ones in Brawley, man. Hidalgo, Witter, Barbara Worth Junior High, and Brawley Union High School.
Are we talking 80s, 90s that you were going to school there?
Well, I was born in 1984, so I entered high school freshman year in 1998. I graduated in
Okay.
2002.
Into the 90s and through the 2000s. Were there
Yeah.
any gangs roaming around Role back then?
No, no gangs. Well, I say no gangs, but in comparison to Los Angeles and San Diego, nothing major. Yeah, you do have Brole, Eastside Brole. You got Chicali, PYS, the projects do have your gangs.
What about like drug dealers or other kinds of criminals?
I would say, yeah, that's more like pertinent. Nothing major, mostly like low level drug transactions. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a corridor right there, Mexicali.
Okay, so then after high school, I see your military there, infantry in the back. Your army, ¿verdad?
Yeah, shit, dude. I enlisted senior year in high school. Actually, right before I became a senior, I joined the delayed entry program. So I was 17 years old. My parents signed the permission slip, the waiver, and hey, when I graduated high school, 1 month later, off to Fort Benning, Georgia, July 22nd, 2002.
Wow. And what made you decide to do that?
Small town, dude. I had to get out of there, man. That seemed to be a ticket out. By then, 9/11 had already happened. I felt the calling, being young, motivated, young, dumb, and eager, adventurous. Kind of all the stars lined up.
After you got in the military, why did you decide to work in corrections?
Oh, because my father, he was a CO in Centinela State Prison. He went to the academy in October 1993 in Galt.
Right on.
And then both my padrinos, my ninos, my godfathers, they were COs, one at Calipat and the other one at Centinela. So small town, you got two prisons, Calipat, Centinela. And if you really want, you got Ironwood off to Blythe.
Right.
But that's it, man. You either become
Major employers, yeah, and the pay's pretty good,
outstanding, yeah, especially
yeah.
at that time.
What kind of assignments did you have and what facilities did you work at?
Right off the top, man, if you're new, you're going to go where nobody wants to work, right? The gyms. My first assignment was Charlie Gym at Centinela State Prison. That was a level 3 gym. However, the buildings on that yard were level 4. So you could just imagine you had all the level 4 GP giving those inmates the weapons to hold. And unfortunately, there was nothing but Southsiders, Sureños in that gym because they kept going off and rioting with every other race. I think first the whites and the blacks. So, I mean, as well, that if it's just one organization, all their attention goes on staff because they don't have to look over their shoulder for their enemy and so that kind of sucked. But hey, since I'm brand new, that's my norm. That's my norm. I don't know how good it can get. And so working the gym, being outnumbered. Well, you're outnumbered everywhere, but having to walk through those bunks and getting tested, being new, inexperienced. I'll be honest and say, kind of a hothead as far as like I didn't have those communication skills mixed with de-escalation type.
Got you. And you learn real quick, don't you? You learn communication skills and yeah, when do not not to go in there like G.I. Joe and think you could whoop the whole dorms. You wait for backup. I always said, hey, I used to teach at the academy. I used to tell the officers, hey, you're gonna be upset sometimes. You're gonna want to take immediate action, but time is on our
Correct.
side. These guys ain't going nowhere. Wait till there's backup. To the odds are in our favor.
Yeah, you're gonna want to take immediate action. That's the truth right there, man. And luckily my dad was the CO, so he would say, man, don't take it personal. It's all business. It's all business. Not only he would say, but everybody else would tell me, hey, man, they're not going nowhere. Relax. They're gonna eventually need something from you. You'll never need nothing from them. And I was like,
And
oh,
they're real good at pushing your buttons, especially new staff, at testing us. So I remember that too, not just the convicts, sometimes other staff too test and see,
definitely,
what your
definitely.
reaction would be in a certain situation. It was definitely a learning process.
They showed the staff at Centinela, man, great staff, great supervisors, great management. And I say that looking back in hindsight after going to Donovan, and then my world got turned upside down over there. Centinela was a autopilot prison.
Got you.
Routine, man, incidents, clean up the mess, document everything, and just restart.
So you worked at Sentinella, you worked at Donovan. Was there any other prisons you worked at?
Just those two. I did 8 years at Centinela as an officer, and then I did my last 8 as a sergeant and lieutenant at Donovan.
Got you. Interesting. And so when you were working line staff, and once you got, some time under your belt and kind of knew what you're doing, what would you say was some of the differences between working as a line CO and as a lieutenant supervisor? What were some of the different issues you had to deal with?
Well, the difference is right off the bat is inmates are a lot nicer to lieutenants than they are officers. Number one, right? Then when you mentioned, I never forgot where I came from. Yeah, it put things in perspective, right? The whole good morning, lieutenant. Hey, can I do this? You need a copy, this and that. It put things in perspective how the management that rise to the rank of associate warden or chief deputy warden or warden that were never a correctional officer. Of course, these inmates are going to be saying, good morning, ma'am, good morning, sir, treating them like they're the best, but they never worked the housing unit, when they're getting shit talked to, tested, so I never forgot that. But the challenge is, Sergeant, you're dealing with the bullshit from the bottom and from the top. It's like a shit sandwich, man. You got the lieutenant shitting on you, you got the staff and the inmates fucking coming at you with their problems. But lieutenant was more what I felt my role was to be a filter and a barrier from management and their crazy ideas, their wild tactics, and and to filter it to the lower levels so that they can focus on safety and security and not get distracted by the unnecessary
Politics and bullshit directives. Yeah.
Politics and bullshit directives. There you go, man. Because think about it. You were in the military, you were Marine Corps, I was in the Army. I'm not going to say we have a small mind, but hey, man, the human mind can only take so much information. You start giving these young officers and sergeants too much information, overload, mistakes are going to get made. And mistakes in prison can be deadly. So that's how my style was, like filtering the bullshit. But trust me, I had some peers that would let the stress, man, all the shit that the management was pushing down, they would push it right down to the troops. And you could tell their yards were messed up. Their officers were discombobulated. And that's when bad things happen. As a lieutenant on a yard, I simplified it. During staff meetings, I would say, because the kids get younger and younger, the COs, either that or I was getting older and older. I would tell them the same thing over and over again. I only care about 3 things in this order: your safety, make sure that you don't get fired, and make sure that you don't get me fired in the process. Period. Anything else, hey, go play hula hoops with the inmates, go pet this dog. I'm focused on those 3 things. Well, utilizing that tactic, they looked out for me. The troops looked out for me. Even the inmates would look out for me. I can say that now in hindsight because, hey, they didn't game me. They didn't okey doke me. They would let me know of a train wreck before a train wreck happened. And then we would, adjust and fix it. While other yards, other peers, oh, man, it's just exploding everywhere.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that and experienced the same thing. And I was just going to say on your show, I know you have a lot of viewers who are ex-felons, and
Correct.
I can tell they have a lot of respect for you. So I could tell that, you had respect from the troops and you had respect with the inmates because of the person you are, Hector.
I'm humbled. I'm humbled by that, man. I'm humbled extremely because I was a straight shooter right down the center, man. I have a lot of life experiences. I've grown as a person, and I try to put my best foot forward. Even when the department got crazy, started mixing SNYs and GPs together, you know that that's wrong, man. You know that that's not going to work. People are going to get hurt unnecessarily. So yeah, me and other peers would have to think fast on our feet to save those inmates that were literally put in harm's way, right? We were conspiring, like, man, say this is going to get you over here. Say this is going to get you to this yard, right? And kind of working with them to not let them get hurt unnecessarily.
So why did you start your show?
Oh man, so my show, dude. So like I did 16 years with the department. I would have had to do 12 more years to hit 50 years old. Of course, that's a goal, man. Of course. I never foreseen this. The goal is to do your career and retire and ride off into the sunset. However, things got so corrupt. The word is corruption because I observed it firsthand. I was a public information officer for the warden. I was behind those closed door meetings. I saw those emails. I don't know what that thing is right there, but
Hey,
so
somebody's giving you a thumbs up.
this is my friendly ghost, man. He's a green. Then I had my daughter. Before I had a child, I was kind of a wild guy, man. We talked about cracking doors. Hey, an inmate gets mouthy, crack the motherfucking door right now, right? When I had my daughter, I pumped the brakes, bro, because in reality, it's not even worth it to be cracking doors. You're gonna get in trouble, and for what? You know what I mean? For what? To prove something that you're gonna get in trouble for. So my daughter saved my life and pumped the brakes. But even then, man, I adjusted. I adjusted to the department's new rules, right? I conformed. But when they started targeting people for personal reasons, petty reasons, corrupt reasons, and I was literally going to work doing my 8 and hitting the gate, Donovan got bad, man. I said, I have to get out of here. I have to. And then it was a Mexican mafia attack that happened at Donovan on Bravo Yard with the overfamiliar captain. This freaking captain that made captain in 9 years, which is astonishing in itself. The warden brought him over because they worked together at Calipat, and the dude wasn't bright. So, you surround yourself with idiots, you're going to feel like the smartest guy in the room. Well, they did some kind of backdoor transfer where they transferred this inmate from High Desert State Prison down to Donovan because that captain was previously at High Desert with that Mexican mafia member. Apparently they became buddies, man. And he told the warden, hey, let me bring down this guy and I'm going to let him run this yard for us. Control the sureños.
No.
So that's what happened. But he had an open door policy with that captain. He would literally walk past the sergeant's office, walk past that lieutenant's office, blow him off disrespectfully, and go have closed door meetings with that captain in the back, which was shady. So the officers didn't have no power, authority. The sergeant didn't have no authority, and the lieutenant didn't. It was all between the Mexican mafia member and that captain. Mm. Well, eventually, the train crashed, man, and it resulted in 6 officers getting assaulted, 2 brutally stabbed, man. Bad, dude. Freaking bad. Attempted murders. And you would think, okay, now let's hold this captain accountable. Look at it, it's all in front of us. No, the warden swept it under the rug and Sacramento swept it under the rug. That's when it opened my eyes, like this corruption goes all the way to the top. I got to get out of here.